Hello again, everybody. Welcome back in. I am here in the test server, and I'm going to introduce to you the 3 new heroes that are coming into the game. The first one you may have already seen some pictures of because that is Talin. It's been announced. She's going to be in the banner with Lyra. So, Talin is a marksman. She is going to be a magic damage dealer. As you can see here, she has dual faction designation. She's going to be a watcher and a piercer. Based on all the tags that she has form. She's going to be single target attack, and the other one is going to be multi-target attack. And I'll explain all of this as we get into her talent is going to work, and as well all the passives and how the ultimate deck gets integrated. Let me show you here quickly the hero details. Let me put her here at 60. As you can see here, she has a good base attack of 4324 and 1026 of defense. These numbers are going to be integral. You're going to have to keep those in mind. The 16 block here, or the 16 cost that she has 1 block when she's platform. I will show you that she actually gains some based on her berserker mode. If we look at her talent here, it says that increases attack by 15% when we actually deploy her. She can be deployed both as a platform and as ground or a ground tile. So this is kind of the type of hero that I predicted. If you want to go look back at the last conversation that I had with Mortar Mike, this is kind of the kind of hero that I wanted to see, which was based on the platform or the ground, or based on whether you place her on the platform or on the ground tile. She takes a different form, and this is kind of the preview of what we did. It's kind of the mythical sense that I had about a hero being introduced into the game. When deployed on ground tiles, the hero transforms into this berserker stance. So this is where everything kind of changed for her. So number one, she does reduce her attack range. She will reduce her attack speed. Attack deals AoE physical damage. 2 enemies in range, increases her block by 3 and the max HP by 100%. This is awesome. Converts 80% of the attack to defense. So this is why you kind of want to build her both ways in a sense. So if you have those nice pieces that have defense bonus on top of all the other damage stats that we usually look for, that would be perfect for her. Attacks have a 20% chance to inflict 10% vulnerability, physical damage, and it cannot target airborne units in this form, even though she is a marksman. Now let me kind of give you a little bit of a preview here based on the camera as to whether you deploy her in the platform form, and then you're gonna see her here in her berserker mode, which basically transforms into a bear. So that's where the ursine modifier comes in, her moniker, and she'll deal damage and she'll block units. So yeah, so this is all on whether you want to play her either way. So all right, so let me go here with the basic attack. Let's look at her basic attack. So it deals 100% damage to 1 enemy, and now you can see her range with this 3 on each side. In the middle, it extends out one block. So you can see here it goes 3 from her front, 3 on each side. So if you skill this up, you can get it to 120 damage. Okay, so let me look here at her ultimate. So this is all based on whether she's in a berserker mode or she's in the platform, right? So if she's in the platform, when activated, it reduces attack interval by 40%, so she'll go a little bit faster, and attack ignores 60% magic resistance. Okay, while in the berserker stance, okay, so this is when we place her as a ground tile. This effect is replaced with an increased attack by 40% and all damage reductions by 20%. Remember that based on her talent, right, that the attack is also converted into defense. So there's a lot of here the things that we have to keep in mind as all these stats are being read. In addition, you can see it dispels 1 debuff from this hero every 5 seconds. And when she's taking direct damage, she restores 5% of their max HP for the hero and adjacent allies. All right, so she's healing people around her based on that range. Okay, so the allies had to be adjacent to her, and then she is going to be healing 5%. All right, so then if you put her with, let's just say, for example, if you're going to use her as a ground unit, you probably want to put her in Unshaken. So she gains health there, and she gains health here. and she will then also be healing the allies around her. So this is actually really intriguing as to how she's going to be playing in her berserker mode. As you can see here, as we skill this up, her attack interval reduction is reduced by 5%, so we can take this up to 50%. Her attack would then can increase that by 50%. Her effect duration increases by 5 seconds the further we're put in this, so this will go up to 20 seconds. Her skill cost is reduced by 100 if we get to the last one here. So her initial is 400, and then after that we have to wait 800. Very interesting makeup here of this hero based on how you want to use her. Nature Fury is one of her passives. Every 20 attacks launched, the next attack deals 480% damage and dispels one buff on the target. Might have some play for Samurai here. When the ultimate is activated, the effect is guaranteed to be triggered one time. While in the Berserker stance, so this is when she's a ground tile, this effect changes to the attack has a 50% chance to trigger a ground stomp. What's a ground stomp? It deals 340% AoE physical damage to 5 enemies within 2 rows ahead and knocks them back. All right. It doesn't say the strength of the knockback, but definitely I'm going to be looking forward to see how much that knockback is when we actually get a chance to test her. During the ultimate, the damage range expands and inflicts stun on the targets for 1 second. So not only is she dealing damage, but she's also offering CC on top of everything else that her kit offers. The Iron Back Armor, as you can see here, it has a 20-second cooldown. We can actually decrease this to 15 seconds. When deployed, it gains 1 stack of the Torn Shield. All right, so this is when she is in the platform, right? So what does that Torn Shield does? It increases attack by 2% and defense by 2%. All stacks are then preserved after redeployment. So if we withdraw her and we bring her back in her Berserker mode if we want to, she keeps these stacks. She won't lose them. So she gains these stacks every 20 seconds. And she can gain up to 10 stacks. So we can easily get her 20% attack and 20% defense if we allow to build all those stacks. Each time Nature's Fury is triggered, which is the other passive here, it reduces the cooldown by 5 seconds. While in the Berserker stance, again, we change the effect. This is replaced by reducing the cooldown by 1 second for every 1 time that she is healed, up to 1 time every 2 seconds. So 1 heal, it reduces this by 1 second. So over the span of 10 seconds, we are then back to the passive, it looks like. So that's essentially what that is. As you can see here, the stack caps can be increased by 5. So we can increase this to 15 if we fully skill. So we can gain the attack. We can go up to 30% and then the defense by 30%. So we're giving her more attack for the platform form and more defense for her Berserker stand. So we're making her tankier is essentially what's happening there. Let's look at her awakenings here. The first one, for every 1 stack of the Torn shield that she is gaining, it increases damage by an additional 2%. Remember, if we fully skill, we can get this up to 30. So an additional 15. So we can get her up to 15 stacks. So we can get 30% out of that. In her Awaken 2, we can increase our base attack by 300. In the Awaken 3, it increases the initial rage by 300. So it's going to be quick. She's going to be ready. Increases the stack cap of the Torn Shield by 5. And gains 2 stacks of Torn Shield when each ultimate is cast. So essentially, you're just going to be ramping up the damage a lot quicker once you get her to a 3. And of course, you're going to be building up more defense, more attack. So her Berserker mode becomes even stronger. Penetration increase on of 8% on A4 and in her A5 for every 1 stack of Torn Shield. She reduces the hero's AoE damage taken by 1%. When the Torn Shield reaches the full stacks, The hero survives when receiving fatal damage for the first time after each deployment and restores 50% of her HP. It's an unyielding if we get her to A5. So that's moi to any type of hero that we can use, especially as a tank that has unyielding. Not only that, apparently she's dealing damage. Then that's something that we're going to look to see how much damage it can do in her berserker mode. We know that she can get tanky, so with her Torn Shield, she's going to be gaining defense, so we can just stack up that HP and then use the defense bonus subset where applicable in the pieces that we do give her. So it's going to be really intriguing as to how we're going to be able to utilize this hero. There are going to be different builds for her for sure, and then the artifact that we select is going to be based on what form we want to put her down as. The other hero that is being introduced into the game is the esotericist Faelin. This mage, which is magic damage dealer, she is an epic, all right, in the Esoteria faction. So essentially what it does here, her talent is that she's going to be inflicting the form of poison that we know that we have in the game. Is different from the neurotoxin. So this one deals 5% continuous magic damage per second, stacking up to 10 times. So each poison stack that we gain, that's exactly what it's doing. And also she then also can apply magic resistance reduction, can be inflicted, and this one is 20%, and it lasts for 10 seconds when she is able to apply it. Here you can see her range is really interesting. So it's kind of short the closer that you are to her, but then it expands out, right? So it looks like crutches. It's essentially what it is. She deals AoE damage, so you can bring this up to 110 when you skill it up to 5 enemies in that range. When we activate her virulent vial, so you can see here it's really quick, right? So we're going to come back to this and we're going to be able to apply the poisons. It deals 100% damage 3 times in total to random enemies within the short time, inflicting 1 stack of poison with each hit. So you can see that range, right? So now think about 200 and how fast that's going to recycle. So the longer that these enemies are in her range, the more poison she's going to be able to stack up. Now, based on the number of skills that we throw on her, we can increase her hit damage. So we can increase that to 2. And her damage increases by 40%. So we can bring this up to 140% if we are able to invest in the skills on her. Her Spectral Rod passive, when an enemy inflicted with poison by the hero dies, it deals 150% AoE damage 1 time for up to 8 surrounding enemies. So, and then we can increase this up to 80%. So we can bring this out to 230% if we are able to if you do decide to invest the skill crystals on her. So very, very interesting mechanic here. So this is all about going to be trying to get those poisons activated and make sure that they do damage over time and that they kill the enemy in order for us to get this burst damage that we are able to see. All right, she has a 21 cost, as you can see here. Let's look at the hero details. So a lot of the poison is based on attack and damage. So here we go, 3229. It's decent. She's a little bit fragile, but that comes with the epics. So based on what I'm seeing here, yeah, her damage is mostly going to be coming from those poisons. You can see her attack interval is going to start high, 3.5 seconds. So we'll see how much damage she can do by herself, not using the poisons. And rage regenato is at 14, which is not bad. All right, so yeah, so very interesting epic that is being introduced, especially with the Esoteria now that poisons are going to be introduced into the faction. Most of the poisons that we have are usually in the Preserve faction, so there'll probably be some play here. Now she does have magic resistance reduction that plays well for the being part of the Esoteria, so it plays well with the team that you surround her with if they're from that same faction. So that's the epic there. Now let's look at her awakens really quick. For Awaken 1, the ultimate has a 30% chance to instantly restore 50% rage upon use. Listen, if we are able to activate more, apply more poisons, even the better, right? She gains 5% based attack when her Awaken 2. For Awaken 3, the AoE damage from the Spectral Rift inflicts low on the affected enemies, so there is CC. Rage Regen Auto is increased by 1 on her 4th Awakening. And in her 5th Awakening, when the Spectral Rift is triggered, it inflicts 1 extra stack of poison on affected enemies. So there it is. There is Faelin, the new poisoner that is coming into the game. And here's the more interesting one of the three. Malrik is a mage, magic damage dealer, infernal, and Esoteric faction designations. It's dual faction designation. Oh, where do I start with this guy? Oh, there's going to be a lot of things to take into account when it comes to Malrik. Let's look at the Talin here. The hero gains 20% damage increase when we first deploy him. It then grants the Wizard's Rune to the next hero deployed in the attack range. Okay, so here, with this one, the Wizard Rune, it increases attack, defense, and HP of the hero that has the rune by 10%, and then this effect can stack up with any other effects, right? So if we give him the rune inspiration, we'll also then and stack on top of that is essentially what they're saying here. This effect can only be triggered 1 time per deployment. All right, so you have to keep in mind who you want that rune to go to. So you have to deploy him exactly to the hero that you're going to be applying this, after the hero that you're going to be applying this to. All right, here we go. When the Wizard's Rune is granted to an allied platform hero, Malrik's fire form will be replaced with the frost form. Okay, so here's what. So we place a unit down. So let's say we're picking a ground type, right? So then we're giving that rune. Now, Malrik, because we're doing this to a ground tile, will take the frost form. The frost form reduces damage by 25% and converts all attacks to AoE damage, right? So that's his form. Now, if we do a platform unit, as it says here, Malrik's fire form will be replaced. So what's the fire form? Well, it's the initial form. It specializes in single target magic damage, right? So this is exactly how that interplay is going to come into, as to you're going to decide whether he is going to be a AoE damage dealer or a single target damage dealer. So if, let's say, he has a play in Guild Boss, then you're going to want to make sure that that rune goes to a platform unit. Just to make sure that you get that. All right, his cost is 19, decent for a mage. Let's look at the hero details here. You can see here his base attack is really high. HP is decent. His defense is a little bit low, but it's expected. And his attack interval already starts at 2.6. So it's a little bit high. So it's going to be hard to get him going based on the amount of speed that we give him. All right. And then everything else is pretty much standard for him. He deals 100% damage 1 time to 1 enemy in range. And of course, we can get this up to 120 if we do decide to skill. Now, remember, this is his original form. If we do decide to then come in and transform into the damage form, it then converts the attacks into AoE damage, all right? Let's look at his ultimate. When the ultimate is activated, it increases the hero's attack by 30% for 15 seconds. Of course, the effect duration can be increased as skill, so this is 20. During this time, it transforms the hero's basic attack into Fireball or a Blizzard. So this is based on the form that he's on from his talent. All right. So we start with we start at 400, right? We can reduce this to 300 if we fully skill, and then goes from 800 to 700 in terms of rotation if we fully invest the crystals in him. All right, and we can also get 20% more damage from it. But here we go. So in his Fireball, he deals 80% damage to 1 enemy in range 3 times and inflicts burning. All right, so this is what I was saying. If you're in a single target, in this case in Guild Boss, this is what he's going to be doing with the fire. Now, in his Blizzard form, which is the AoE damage dealing range,
It deals 120% AoE damage, up to 5 enemies in range, and inflicts Winter's Bite. We have seen all these heroes now being introduced that have the same effect, right? So this will pair up well with Emerald and Lynx and Fenris and Lady A. So essentially that's what he's doing there, and that's where the damage is coming in from his ultimate. Let's look at his passive now. While in the same form, every 5 basic attacks either triggers the Fire Blast or the Ice Storm. All right, so we already we've done this one here. So yeah, so the Fire Blast deals 320% damage one time to one enemy, inflicts burn. The Ice Storm, again, AoE damage one time, 25% one time per second, in range to 5 surrounding units for 4 seconds, with a 50% chance to inflict Winter's Bite. All right, so this one is a little bit different from the ultimate, because in this one it does guarantee it to be inflicted. In this one here, the Ice Storm is only a 50% chance. Then this is one time. If no basic attack is launched for 5 seconds, the next attack is guaranteed to trigger this effect. So essentially, as if he's just idle for 5 seconds, he's not doing anything, then you're not going to need to get the 5 basic attacks to trigger this one. It's essentially what it's doing. Now, based on the skills that you are investing in him, as you can see here, the Fire Blast Form, you can get more damage out of it. So you can get up to 80% more damage. And in the Ice Storm damage, you can get 20% more damage out of that if you do decide to invest the skill crystals on him. When casting the ultimate in the Rune Mastery passive, it restores 5% rage to heroes granted with the Wizard rune. All right, so whoever you selected to get that rune, and then permanently increases the hero's attack by 3%. All right, this attack increase can be gained up to 5 times for each battle. If no one is granted with the rune, it restores an extra 5% rage for this hero. All right, so you're most likely going to apply the rune to somebody, but if no one, just in case you do not do that, it just gives him to get to his ultimate a little bit quicker, so you can get at least damage from that, if that is what how you want to utilize him. So that's essentially what it is. If you decide to fully invest the skill crystals on him, we're going to increase the attack by 5%, and the rage region will go up by an additional 5%, so that's 10% right there. All right, now let's look at his ultimates. Get ready, folks. Here we go. A1. Okay, the Elemental Covenant is enhanced. The Fire Blast deals 60% extra damage and inflicts magic damage vulnerability. Wow. The Ice Storm inflicts freeze on enemies and induces damage interval by 0.3 seconds. This is awesome. And increases the chance to inflict the Winter's Bite by 270%. So, based on what form you bring him in, A, you're either going to apply a debuff that adds more damage, or you're going to CC the enemies. You pick the form. His second awakening, we're going to get additional base attack. In her third awakening, increases the speed boost granted by the attack speed by 20%. In his A4, the penetration is increased by 8%. And here's the last one. Get ready for this one. The hero gains an extra 10% damage increase. That's not the kicker. When either the hero or the hero granted with the Wizard's rune dies, applies Wizard's incantation on them. What is Wizard's incantation? It prevents the death one time when the carrier takes fatal damage. It dispels all debuffs on them and restores 50% of their max HP. So it says when either the hero or the hero granted the Wizard's runes, then we get Wizard's incantations. Essentially is Malrik will get an extra life, or the hero that you decided to put the rune on gets an extra life. All right, they both won't get it, but at least one of them will get it, and somebody's getting an extra life out of this. That's what that powerful fifth awakening is. He is going to be an awesome hero. At least on paper, he looks to be one awesome hero, and so we are definitely going to be looking forward to giving him a try. But that is the preview, folks, of the 3 new heroes that are coming into the game, so you can look forward in the special banners that they're going to be assigned in the near future. Thank you all very much for tuning in and watching. I will see you all in the next Watcher of Realms video.